That was new. It's like someone's listening to us.
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh my gosh. I knew we had to, I didn't tell you this, Mike, but I knew we had to make a BFL show because Seth texted last night and like, where's the BFL show? And if Seth is texting about the BFL show, we've made it big time.
Let's go.
This one's for you, Zeth 22OC.
When we're in the Huffman house, then we've made it, baby. We're goated. We're goated.
Hey, I'm just with the defending champ in his last weeks of being that dude, and I'm happy to be here.
I still got at least probably half a season to ride that.
Perfect.
Once I'm mathematically eliminated in week 7 this year, then we'll.
Well, I'll be right there with you. I'm a sinking ship, and I'm taking the and my apologies to the world. I'm taking the BFL show down with me. I did not put together any kind of PowerPoint, and I resorted to my kind of like prep for this show was sticky notes on my lunch break. So that's what it looks like. You guys ask for it. This be careful. It's one of those be careful what you wish for.
I have a little under.
Oh dang! Did you like raid an Egyptian temple and get some hieroglyphics?
I also have the draft printed, but it's in black and white, so it's kind of hard to read some of the names because of the colored cells.
This is just a top-notch show. Do we call this a podcast? What's a podcast with video? Is that
a vidcast? I don't know.
Vidcast, a vlog. All
We're
right.
getting back to our roots. The first one was just me and you in your basement.
Yeah, that's right. And now it's just me in my basement, and then it's you laying down
in my basement.
In your basement. All righty then. So let's see. We had a draft. Should we talk about that?
We had 7 people show up to Casa de Ben. Thank you, Ben, for hosting. It was awesome. For those who didn't get to make it, I think we're really trying to do a trade deadline get together, right? That's like a real thing that's happening.
I would love to do that. Yeah. So, and actually, Mike, you planted this idea because you do a fantasy baseball league, right? And your team did a trade deadline cookout, which I think is an amazing idea, and that'd be really fun to do then too.
It was a cookout, and there was a lot of discussion and trades. All trades were pushed through that night, and it was awesome. It was a lot of wheeling and dealing. So we could do something like that. It would make the whole process a lot easier and be a fun excuse to get together mid-season.
Well, that's down the road, so I'm excited to talk about that more. Can we get back to the draft and Ben's just a little bit? And yeah, Ben, thanks for hosting. That was awesome. I said something that was meant to be a compliment after the draft on the group chat, and I had said that Ben's house was so nice that if there was a zombie apocalypse, I would relocate my family there.
Oh yeah,
you guys, I've lost so much sleep thinking about this, and it's just a dumb statement. Can anyone in their mind picture a zombie apocalypse where Rockford is in trouble, but Chicago's not? Like, I would just walk into a trap. Like I think if a zombie apocalypse occurs, I've got to either head rural Wisconsin or, rural Illinois, or I'm getting to the Mississippi River and then I'm going north or south that way. I can't go to your house in the event of a zombie apocalypse. That, like, the infection rates, just too much between Rockford and Chicago.
Ben, I will come and I will make sure you're okay, and then you can join up with me.
Yeah, I'd come get you if you were in trouble, but I don't know. I don't know how that. No promises. All right, no promises. Well, if you would order that pizza again and pay for it like you did, then maybe.
Blue Malnati's thin crust. Who knew?
Well, what if we did that? What if me and you, Mike, went to Ben's to save him during the zombie outbreak, and we're like, we made it. We got to get some pizza, then we got to go. But then the pizza delivery guy was a zombie.
You got to take that chance and still eat the pizza, though.
Would your first bite be the Giardiniera pizza or the regular pizza?
Giardiniera.
And here's the thing, guys: if you weren't at the draft, a lot of this is going over your head. So we had a good time.
We did. It was fun. Um, should we recap the events of the draft?
Yeah, I think that's what we're here to do.
All right. What do you say we go in order of the way that it was picked? Go start with Phil and end with you. Right,
Okie dokie.
right 1 through 12. You like it?
Wait, are you talking about just the first round?
No, 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 no. I'm talking about just break down the draft for each person.
Cool. All right. Phil's going first.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You want me to take it away?
Sure.
Okay. Phil, tried to get us all excited by saying that we may be surprised at his first pick. I would have been surprised if it was anybody other than McCaffrey or Cook. I think those are clearly the top two. So when he took Cook, I wasn't that surprised, but pretty much knew that was coming. Overall, I think he had a pretty good draft. There was a couple question marks I had. I think my favorite pick for Phil was definitely, I think, Mecole Hardman at the end of the 9th round. Now, Mecole's the second, the number 2 wide receiver on the best offense in the league. He's going into the 3rd year of a 4-year contract. So if this man wants to get paid, wants to get an extension before he goes into his final year, this is the year. So I think this may be Mecole Hardman's best year of his career. He's got a ball out like that, and he's going to have plenty of one-on-one chances. So I like that a lot. There was one pick that really stood out to me as kind of bad, and that was in the 6th round when he took a linebacker named Neville Hewitt. Now, I didn't know much about the young man, so I looked him up. He actually put up some good numbers playing for the Jets last year, but now he plays for Houston, and according to the Houston Texans official depth chart, he's a backup weak side linebacker. So I think that's unfortunate. I don't know if he looked into that far enough. Maybe he just saw the numbers and went with that. So I had issue with that. Overall, between his keepers and the top end talent, getting Dalvin and Scary Terry, I think Phil will be a team to reckon with, though.
Nice. Yeah. Phil, honestly, Dalvin Cook and Scary Terry, they're 2 of my favorite players in the NFL. And I think they're both like primed for a great year. Minnesota can't be that bad as they were last year defensively. And so that means I think they'll have more leads into the 4th quarter. And that's run the ball, grind the clock, and that's Dalvin Cook time. I think Ronald Jones is fun. I liked his Mostert pick. I was really, really on. I was probably going to take Mostert in the 4th round at the start of the 4th round, if I wouldn't have gone the way I did. And so good job getting me at the end of the 4th round. So that was awesome. Here's what I kind of did for everybody, because all 12 of us were little sneaky sneakertons, and everybody tried to get some sneaks in this draft. And so I have like a sneaky pick that everybody tried to make throughout, and that's going to be kind of my thing during this little talk that we're having tonight. So Phil's sneaky move was he got a few years ago. I don't know if anybody remembers this. There's a quarterback who just lit up the league. He had Aaron Rodgers comparisons, and he kind of just earned the starting job in New Orleans under Sean Payton, named Jameis Winston. Phil got him super late. And so to me, that is Phil's sneaky pick. Nice job sniping Jameis Winston. Let's say he puts it together and cuts the interceptions down. He had the eye surgery or whatever. I really like that sneaky pick for Phil. So well played, sir. Yeah, and just kind of props to you once again for going with Dalvin and not going with what everybody does with Christian McCaffrey. I hope that works out for you. I'd also like to say that one of my biggest fears was Phil picked at 7.11, which is 2 picks before my first keeper pick, and I thought Justin Fields was in play there, so I was sweating profusely inside.
I actually thought that was a missed opportunity to cock block like he was saying that he could. I definitely felt like Jalen Waddle would have been a nice pick there to cock block the keeper. Instead, he went with Hollywood Brown. I think he could have got roughly equal production with Waddle, but not, but kept him ineligible for a keeper for somebody. Also, kind of an inside joke here. I'm sure Drew's favorite pick was probably Daniel Sorensen, who on the BFL show last year, Drew said he will forever hate him because he's the one who injured McCaffrey the second time against the
Oh,
Chiefs.
that's interesting. Nice, nice.
So, but that's it.
All right, let's go to Dom.
Perfect.
Do you want me to start talking about Dom?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Dom got Christian McCaffrey to fall into his lap, which was nice. It's
Yeah.
pretty nice when you pick second and you still get kind of I'd say the consensus 1.1. He followed that up with James Robinson, and James Robinson had an uptick. And I like that James Robinson pick a lot. He was in my again, I'm going to talk about like what I was thinking in my spots compared to what you guys did. Robinson was in the conversation when I took David Montgomery. So good job there. Yeah, Dom played it pretty good. The only thing that stands out to me about Dom's draft is he let quarterback slide. He's rolling with some like second and third tier players at quarterback. There's some things I like about the guys he has, but they're not like your traditional like top 10 even. The guys on his team are Kirk Cousins and Tua, I believe. Does anybody else play quarterback
Yeah.
on his team?
Yeah, it's
Right
true.
on.
It's
So let me jump real quick to Dom's sneaky play. And I think Dom was trying to be sneaky, and we'll see how it works out. But to me, Dom's sneakiest move was his keeper pick. He took Mr. Marquez Callaway. That's a dart throw on a guy who's been pretty phenomenal in preseason. And it's just one of those deals where we'll see if he can carry that over to the regular season.
sure.
Thoughts on that stuff?
Yeah. I thought, yeah, I highlighted the same thing. I don't like Tua time at quarterback. It worked out in my favor. I was able to get Brady in the ninth, and I feel like he could have taken him before he took, maybe the Ezekiel Elliott handcuff. You know, but whatever. I think Dom was a little wasted by this time in the draft. He was having a good time. I think he'll be fine. I think Kirk Cousins obviously has one of the best wide receiver combinations and an electric running back. So I think he'll probably end up starting him more depending on matchups, but we'll see how it goes. For Dom, I actually loved Brandon Cooks in the 13th. I know he was with Deshaun last year, and you say that may affect his value, but Brandon Cooks has played with a lot of different quarterbacks in his career, and he's always put up solid numbers. He's, for 5 of his seasons, he's been right between 70 and 80 catches, between 11 and 1,200 yards, and between 6 and 9 touchdowns. Even if he's on the lower side of that, he's still going to have a really solid year especially a 13th round pick and an extra keeper option. Obviously, I like the Callaway move for him 2 ways because he also has Michael Thomas. So if Michael Thomas comes back and Callaway doesn't get much touches, you're happy to have Michael Thomas back. If Michael Thomas doesn't, then I think Callaway would take a lot of those touches. So I think it was a good move for him both ways. And yes, I love the James Robinson pick. If anything, if I had to regret, I think I might have taken J Rob instead of my guy where I drafted him. So yeah, overall, I think Dom has a good team and 2-headed monster at running back between Chubb and McCaffrey. So you can put J Rob at his flex. That's pretty nasty.
Yeah, man. He just kind of feels like a big time quarterback away. So he's gonna be like, I really like his receiver depth. So
Quarterbacks are always available for trade later in the year.
he's gonna choose between Robert Woods, Chase Claypool, Tyler Boyd, and like you said, Brandon Cooks, and then Callaway if he's in it. Like he's got a ton to use at receiver.
Sure.
Sweet. Let's go to Kyle.
Kyle, I think the positive for Kyle, I didn't highlight any one particular move. I just think the overall draft is the positive. He had a lot of higher picks, didn't he made a lot of moves last year. And while there was some question marks, I think his overall roster is going to be the best he's had in his 3 years with us. And I think he'll be very competitive. To me, I think the Kyler Murray move was kind of an insurance policy. I know he has Burrow as a keeper, and it was kind of, a building block. Burrow, how's the knee, blah, blah, blah. Kyler, in most leagues finished as QB1 last year, most points. And if nothing else, even if the season goes really bad for Kyle, somebody will give a second or third for Kyler at the end of the year. Maybe somebody like Dom, who's lacking a big time quarterback. And then he still has, Burrow or Jones now, which ended up being that he just kind of lucked into that. I can't give him a ton of credit for taking Mac Jones because if we all knew Cam was cut, I think Mac Jones maybe go sooner. But either way, so I don't love a lot of his team. I like a lot of his team, and it kind of feels like to me, like he should have a pretty good year this year. Um, you know, I feel like James Robinson or Scary Terry, guys we just talked about, would have been better than Kyler, but it is what it is.
Sweet. Yeah, so Kyle had 2 first rounders. It would have been I think with the guys, here's what I would have done differently, but everybody's different. So good for Kyle for having his strategy and going with it. If I'm him, I got to take Travis Kelce where he took Zeke, because then he still would have had his choice of Saquon. Maybe you don't like his health. Jonathan Taylor, Najee, and Zeke would have been in play too. So one of those guys might have gotten to him with his next pick. That's pulling teeth or whatever, pinning nails. I don't know what the statement is, but anyway, splitting hairs. But anyway, hey, he's got Zeke and he's got Jonathan Taylor, and that could get you to a championship in itself if they play the way that those guys are both capable of. Yeah, he like doubled down with Kyler Murray. He had Joe Burrow. He tripled down with Mac Jones. I don't know what kind of fantasy player Mac's going to be, but maybe hindsight, we might come back and at the end of the year and say like, oh, he's an amazing fantasy player. Who knows? My sneaky move for Kyle was, and it wasn't, honestly, this one wasn't really a targeted one player in general, but I'm going to say something to Kyle that he might have never heard before. And it's nice D, because his defense is really, really solid. And he was kind of sneaky in the way that he built that. So nice D, Kyle. Nice D. He's got Roquan. He's got Jamal Adams. He's got CJ Mosley. He's got Kenneth Murray Jr. And he like aggressively took those guys kind of in the upper half for the most part. So he's ready to go on that side of the ball, and he's got a running game. So if he was like a real life football team, you have Kyler Murray, you have a supreme running game, and you have a defense. Like, let's go, right? Let's play ball.
Hey, just because you don't watch the Bengals a lot, don't sleep on Jesse Bates. He's a heck of a player.
Jesse Bates, that's another one. And dude, here's the thing. Like, I have a man crush on Joe Burrow, and I don't know if the world knows how I feel about Kyler Murray. So, like, he's got some guys that I like. So, good job, dude. It's gonna be fun watching your team. I think you're very formidable. Ben, sorry, I was thinking about Kyle this whole time and his nice D. Ben's team. Ben took Saquon Barkley. I play Ben week 1. Saquon Barkley practiced for the first time. He had his first contact practice, I think, like yesterday. So there's question marks there. But Ben's computer program told him to make the pick, and so he made the pick. What else does Ben have? So I love Keenan Allen. Keelan Allen was also in my. It was either. Here's the thing. It was, to me, it was either in my first round pick. Because I took AJ Brown. It was either AJ Brown or Keenan Allen. I like Keelan Allen a ton this year. Tyler Lockett's gonna be real solid too. Kyler Lockett, he's a boomer bust player though. Like, he scores a lot and then kind of goes away for a while. So we'll see what's up with that. Ben got really good, really solid players though up and down the draft. He's another guy who, let's see, what did Ben do? He has Dak, but he landed Ryan Tannehill in the 12th round, which is amazing value. Tannehill, he's still on the COVID list, I believe, but I think he's a top 6 fantasy quarterback. That offense is amazing. I for sneaky plays, I have Tannehill and Marvin Jones back to back in the 12th and 13th. Marvin Jones is probably going to be the leading receiver in Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence's rejuvenated Jacksonville offense. I like those picks. They're very good. And then just kind of, I know we're talking about the draft, but Ben was able to hang on to Justin Jefferson, who honestly, Jefferson got an upgrade this week with Irv Smith being out for the year. There's Adam Thielen on that team, and then the Vikings literally don't have anyone else to throw to. So Jefferson and Thielen are going to get a zillion billion targets. So Ben's ready to roll. I like it. I think a ton to like for Ben relies on Saquon's usage earlier in the season to see if he can hold up, if he can perform, get on the field and play. Ben could sneak some wins in, and then he's good to go.
Yeah, I same thing. I think for Dak, it's how crazy do they want to go with Dak early on? If some people, if on Undisputed this morning, they were really diving deep in the Cowboys because Skip Bayless is a Cowboys fan, and they were talking about how when he hurt his shoulder, it's because he wasn't driving off his platform. That's why he had a really funky like baseball injury as a football player, because he, maybe he still doesn't trust that ankle fully. So early season, Dak, Saquon, if he can sneak by, even like if Ben's like 2-2 or 3-2 through the first 4 or 5 games, I think that's when his team could really hit his stride. I loved Ben's draft strategy this year. If you look at him, he went running back, running back, running back, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, linebacker, linebacker. Like he attacked groups. And then after that, it looked more of like a lot of familiar names. Like, I've heard of this guy before. I'll take him. You know what I mean? Is what I felt like. He didn't have like a lot of young trying to find the next, blah blah blah, trying to find the next, unsung hero. I think with a lot of proven commodities, like we know what we got. And yes, Ryan Tannehill, I think, was an amazing pick because I was already set for him to be my quarterback one, actually, my starting quarterback, until Brady got so far down I had to take him. I'm trying not to look ahead too much, but yeah, exactly. Like the only thing I think I might have tried differently for Ben, I love Micah Parsons as a as a player and as a prospect. I think I might have tried to let him sneak into the keeper rounds. You don't see a lot of defense go early in the keeper rounds. I think if he made it, I think he might have been able to, possibly get that in, and then got some youth into his keepers because he's already got 2 older guys in Jenkins and Demario Davis who won't be playing forever. So that could have been a guy on his roster for the next 10, 12 years. That's it. He's, Ben did the right thing in a lot of situations and should have a pretty good team.
Yeah, man. Everybody's really good. Everybody's really.
I feel like the talent overall is really good this year. I don't feel like there's a lot of bad picks or looking back, when we look back on this 3 years from now, we'll be like, oh my gosh, what were we thinking in some of these? But
yeah, that always happens. I always like especially with our next team when we talk about Brian's team, I want to do like a research project on this. Is that there's definitely teams though that are like established with their keepers, and how they draft is completely different than the teams that aren't really established with their keepers. And there's like an upper class, a middle class, and a lower class kind of too, because there's some teams that are kind of in the middle. You have 1 or 2, or one you don't believe in. Anyway, I'm really interested in that and how it plays out. Or teams that even don't even know they have great keepers, or teams that have great keepers. Anyway, it's complicated, but I think it really has a huge effect on how we draft. Anyway,
yeah.
You want to talk about Brian?
Yeah. Let's move on.
All right.
Okay, Brian. So last year, I know you're out high on Brian's team a lot last year. Brian had depth for days, and it worked to his advantage. This year, because of some of the moves he's made, he's not going to have that depth. But that's okay, because last year he was lacking like elite level talent. But this year, oh my gosh, he has Travis Kelce, who's clearly the number one, and Stephon Diggs, who I could argue is the number 1 wide receiver. It's between him and Devontae and Tyreek, however you want to slice it. I don't care. But that is unbelievable. Plus, he's got Herbert, as a keeper, Eckler, Gibson. He's going to be a tough out. If I'm nitpicking, the only thing I love Keenan Allen too. I probably would have taken Keenan over Allen Robinson just because of the quarterback situation there. but that's about it. Allen Robinson's a fantastic player, so no huge issues with that. Um, yeah, another guy I really liked was the Elijah Moore pick. That first keeper slot. That's a nice, sexy pick there. Getting the rookie wide receiver who could develop a rapport with their rookie quarterback and could have a good connection for a long time. But yeah, I think the top end talent is what's going to carry him. So hopefully, without injuries, he should be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, his team is super fun. There's like just fantasy stalwarts that like you enjoy cheering for. Travis Kelce, like you said, Diggs, Allen Robinson. If your team is the Bears and you get a chance to get Allen Robinson as your number
Yeah.
2 receiver, holy smokes. So that's fun. Yeah, he's gonna be super solid. Let me see what I put. Oh yeah, here's a tell. So I have the book out on Brian though. Look at his running backs, the running backs that are on his team. He has Eckler, Antonio Gibson, James White, pass catching back. Gio Bernard, pass catching back. What does Gibson do? He's a pass catching back. He played receiver in college. What does Eckler do? He's a pass catching back. So we're on to you, Brian. We know what you're trying to get. All right. For the next 10 years, we're going to block those pass catching backs from getting to you. That means nothing, but whatever. Just for sneaky play for Brian. Let me see. Where I'm Brian. His late pick. Let me see. I had the wrong team on there. No, I really like his Elijah Moore because to me, Elijah Moore was the number one. He was my number one keeper target that was not a quarterback. I'll just say it out loud. My keeper rankings were Justin Fields, Trey Lance, which Brian also got, and then Elijah Moore. He got 2 of my 3 top keepers. Dang. So well played. Sneaky. Way to snake those 2 guys. You're the rich get richer. Good job, dude. Anything else on Brian?
I don't think so.
Okay. I had some notes written down, but they're for the wrong. Anyway, okay. Perfection. Who's next? Seth. So here's I'm gonna kind of go back to what I was talking about with teams who have established keepers and how they maybe draft differently or approach the draft differently. Seth has a number 1 quarterback coming in, like the NFL MVP, and he hasn't had to draft a number 1 wide receiver in years with Devontae Adams. So he's just approaching this with like, hey, I'm playing with house money. And then Tyreek fell to him. Like, this is incredible. So guys, keepers are so important, and Seth found a way to get those keepers. And I bet he like approaches draft day completely different than like me, who I was rolling in with Laviska Shenault as I need that guy to start. Well, I mean, it's there's like so many layers to this. So anyway, what do I have for notes for Seth? Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, sneaky. Interesting move. So his first keeper pick, Seth always plays the keepers a little bit different from everybody. Baker Mayfield. All right. So I think there's some thought behind this is, what's going on with Rodgers? Does Rodgers go to a bad team? Does Rodgers like deteriorate? Anything? Anyway, Seth is setting himself up with a nice young strong keeper for the future. Now, was he playing on that, or was Baker just the best guy on the top of his list? I don't know. Another sneaky for Seth. And I'm not the Packers expert on here, but his last pick, he got MVS, which is nice Devontae insurance, and MVS is having a phenomenal camp from what my sources tell me. So to me, those are Seth's plays. Seth's going to be, I mean, with the core that he has, he's really tough in the division. His defense is strong also. So there it is. I like one of my favorite picks for him was the Mark Andrews pick in round 4. I think that's actually very, very, very good value for a top tier-ish tight end. What do you think? What do you say, Mike?
Yeah, for sure. I basically, when you have Rodgers and Adams, that was his key last year. Now you add in Tyreek Hill. That could easily be 300 points right there in any given week. And the rest, it's easy to say the rest don't matter. They do. He's got some good players. I feel like Javonte Williams in the third was a bit of a stretch. It's not the Mike Shanahan years anymore, where every Broncos running back's going to run for 1,200 yards regardless of who they run out there. But if that's his guy, then he likes it. He went with another young running back a little later, Trey Sermon, who is in the Shanahan offense, not Mike, but Kyle. So don't mind that either. I think DJ Chark in the 6 was nice. I questioned his first keeper pick last year, which was Levante David, but he played like he was 22 again in that defense and was unreal and is a great, you know, defensive keeper for him. Curtis Samuel, he's a guy I like there a little later because he hasn't got to practice a whole lot this offseason with his new team. But he's one of those guys that once he gets on the field, they're going to find ways to give him the ball. They gave him a pretty big contract because of his versatility. And he's got game-breaking speed. So if he can be the second option after Terry McLaurin and get some rapport, I feel like it's a guy mid-season that could end up being a every week starter for him. So yeah, and yeah, the MBS was a sneaky good pick at the end there too, because he's one of those guys that he could get a 60-yarder at any given time. So yeah, I felt like Seth had another solid draft. He doesn't make trades, so his team's probably going to be the same as what it looks like now. But I like it.
Awesome.
Move on to Drew.
Move on to Drew.
Okay.
You want to lead off, or you want me to go?
Yeah, I'll take it. It's always hard to break down Drew's draft because he doesn't actually have any of his own picks hardly. I feel like Drew's keepers will keep him in it. Like you were saying, the keepers are so important. The big move to get DK last year, Mahomes, get Chris Carson this year, who's like a fringe RB1, RB2 type guy when he's healthy. So I think that'll help him in it. I'm going to leave the sneaky ones alone because I think he had a couple, and I think you have something to talk about there.
He has a handful of sneaks.
For my dislike, I'm going to say this for selfish reasons. The first time we ever did this, I made fun of Drew for drafting 4 quarterbacks, with the fourth one being Pat Mahomes. So I said Pat Mahomes was the worst pick in the draft. Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes, and the main reason why he's finished first and second in the last 2 years. So I'm going to say, why would you draft Jordan Love at the end of the draft? Jordan Love is going to suck. That's a terrible pick. Jordan Love is the worst pick in the draft.
Wow, worst pick in the draft, call out. That's good. So Jordan Love actually was number 3 of my sneaky picks for Drew. Drew went real sneaky on us. He put on the sneaky disguise, put on the mustache, and he took Deshaun Watson. He took Travis Etienne. Both those guys, they're not playing this year. He took Jordan Love. He ain't playing this year. So Drew, what are you up to? What are you up to, Drew? I see you sneaking around.
We're on to you, Drew.
We're on to you, Drew. And so Drew is another case. Like in my research paper about keepers and how it affects your drafting, like Drew has these arguably the top keepers, like hands down, but he doesn't have picks in the top like you'd like to see picks. So is he taking advantage, or is he like, and then people trade with him though to like make up for the fact that he's not having picks. It's incredible. It's so deep.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how Drew rolls, man. It's his established way of operating. He gets those guys that he knows he can flip or hype up and flip, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows what the people want.
I'm only going to say a few short words about your team, and then I'll let you talk a little bit more about it.
Okay.
I was sitting next to Mike. Well, I guess we'll start with a little longer story. It's not long at all, and everybody knows it. I was sitting next to Mike, and he's up. He didn't have a first round pick. He's up for his second round pick, and then he's like, "Whoop!" And he shows me the tweet that he's reading, and it's J.K. Dobbins, and that just set a whole bunch of dominoes going for about the next 2 hours about what happened and how it happened and what we were talking about. So that was entertaining. And then he took Miles Sanders with that pick, but I'm going to let Mike talk more about that. And then so the rest of the draft story is I honestly I was tracking everybody's team this year. I had the old sheet with all the positions and who needs what. And Mike had this glaring like open spot at quarterback. And then I would look back at my cheat sheet and I had taken a quarterback, so it didn't really affect me. And I knew I was going to go after Justin Fields or Trey Lance, so it really didn't affect me. But Tom Brady was just sitting there for like 2.5 hours. And then the pizza came, and then we were still waiting for Brady to get picked. And then Mike finally took Tom Brady, which is incredible value. And then later on in the draft, Mike put on his little sneaky underwear, and he took Taysom Hill, and he took Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that's how you say his name. And those dudes are going to be pretty sneaky good this year, especially Taysom. Taysom is a weapon. If Jameis does fail, you got yourself like an 80-point quarterback there, along with Brady.
I'm just waiting for Taysom. I'm waiting for Taysom to get eligibility at another position. That's what I'm.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm glad you said Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm excited about him. I think he's got a weak depth chart in front of him and a lot of opportunity. He is Equanimous St. Brown's brother.
Yes.
Yes, I think there's the J.K. Dobbins thing. I think is by far the most intriguing thing that happened during the draft that actually involved the draft. Sucks for Nate, the way it ended up playing out. I'm happy to have Miles Sanders. I think I would, if I could do it over again, I might have taken James Robinson, but I love Miles Sanders. Dual threat type guy. They didn't use him much in the preseason because they know he's firmly entrenched as their number one, and they're going to use him a lot. And I feel like Jalen Hurts is going to open up bigger running lanes. And he's a big play guy. You may not think of it, but Miles Sanders is actually a big play guy. So what I liked for myself, other than Brady, is I also I had a hard decision to make for keepers for defense. I had to let go of either Baker or Poyer. I ended up losing Poyer, but I gained Minkah Fitzpatrick later in the draft. So to get the number 12 overall DB in the 10th round to replace my lost boy, I was really happy about that too. I hated the picks that I had to make. Like, I don't love Miles Sanders. I don't love taking Adam Thielen again. I don't love Robbie Anderson. I think they're all solid picks, but I loved the ones I didn't have to make. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much talent I felt like in this year that, like, all those mid to late round picks that you're playing, like, you can take chances or, like, go after guys that you like and not necessarily, you know what I mean? Like, I really liked being able to take Zach Wilson. I liked being able to take, Darnell Savage. I like being able, Evan Ingram, like stuff like that. Like, I feel like that late round value was there, and there was, like, I kept looking at my sheet going, man, there's still a lot of good players left. And it was a fun draft in that way. So I'm obviously not going to be as good as last year, but I think I have myself written down as Malcolm Brown is going to be my first player to go because it doesn't look like he's going to get much playing time in Miami.
Oh, nice. Gotcha. Nah, dude, I love Adam Thielen. Like I said, they don't have anybody to throw to except him and Jefferson. So
yeah, I mean, I think Jefferson's obviously the bigger threat there, but Thielen had 14 touchdowns last year, so
he's money and he's got a red zone connection with Captain Kirk.
Exactly.
All righty. You go first on mustache?
Yeah. It's not mustache anymore. It's finding Debo.
Finding Debo.
And I think that's my vote for the best name with the emojis in there. For Goody, I always kind of rip on him for being a Bears homer, but I absolutely love the Darnell Mooney pick. Mooney was open all like a bunch last year, and their quarterbacks just couldn't hit him. I think that's a great pick. And another guy that he always seems to end up with is Michael Gallup, who does really well with when he has a full, a healthy Dak Prescott. Obviously they have 3 receivers down there with him, but he's going to have a few big games, and if Cooper's dinged up or Lamb's dinged up, then he immediately becomes a must start. So I like that pick too. And then for him, you said about Kyle earlier, you said nice D. I think instead of calling him Goody, we should call him Good D.
Oh, good D. He's got the
Good.
good D.
Yeah. Because he loves defense and he's down
Good
to
D.
that. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just guessing. No, but when he came in, he didn't have some early picks, but he came in with Jamar Chase. But then after that, he goes right after, Blake Martinez, Aluakon. Was that him with Jalen Smith too? Yeah, and then, so he goes bam, bam, bam. He goes right for those defensive guys. So he's got a good defense, and he always drafts a few more defensive players than I'd like, but he gets his guys, and I salute him for it.
Right on. Let me be on record. I'm very confused about what happened with the Jerry Jeudy trade and how. Anyway,
Like, oh yeah, like why he went to acquire him and then didn't keep
before
him.
the draft with to get Debo when he had Jerry Jeudy. I don't know. The Debo trade. Maybe he just was dead set on naming his team, finding Debo. But I'm confused about that trade. Anyway, moving on. Goody. Here's the thing. Goody was very sneaky because he got Michael Gallup back, which
Right.
very very young, very very talented on an explosive offense. Now he's not the top one or two options yet. I don't have faith in Amari Cooper. I think he could be the second option on probably one of the best offenses in the league there. Sony Michel is a sneaky one too. Sony's actually running. Sony might be the starting running back in LA. All right. The problem is, I think, doesn't Mike also have Daryl Henderson? So it's sneaky in the sense that it's Henderson insurance, but he might be the starter. So I think Sony was good insurance, was a goody sneaky move. Also, I hope it works out for him. Tariq Cohen was pretty sneaky the way where he got him. Now Cohen's on the pup to start the year. I'm very nervous about Cohen, but if you can get that talent in the 15th round to get healthy and contribute later on this year, that helps a lot. Or it's a potential keeper later. Let's say he has like 3 or 4 really good weeks in a row at the end of the year. He's in the keeper conversation too. So that's where Goody's at with his team and setup. Final thoughts on him, or should we move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
Let's go to the dirty dirt balls. Heartbreak Hotel for Nate with the J.K. Dobbins. Anyway, he opened the draft with CEH, which I'm a little banged up this preseason, but you're the starting running back on the Chiefs in an Andy Reid offense. You were gonna be money in the bank more often than not. So I had said earlier that it was going to, for me, it was going to be AJ Brown or Keenan Allen. Pick number 3 for that was going to be Calvin Ridley. Yeah, I can read a cheat sheet, but I think Ridley's could make like all of us look like fools. There's a ton of targets available with Julio Jones leaving Atlanta. So Ridley, there's not a ton of guys that are in the conversation to be the number 1 overall receiver, but I think there's a strong path for Calvin Ridley to be that guy. I want to call this sneaky, but it's a little bit too early to be sneaky. Kyle Pitts. Ooh, aggressive. I love it. Go get it. During draft season, I was saying, because I was kind of hearing it, that that Pitts was one of the only Hall of Famers, like potential Hall of Famers in the draft. Now there's 0 track records for rookie tight ends to like have success in the NFL. Like, find me one. But I mean, you might say it's somebody, but Kyle Pitts might be that guy. He could be the one to be like unstoppable as a rookie. Let me just get to what I thought was Nate's sneaky one. He got real sneaky out for the year, Cam Akers, and he made that pick. So that was nice. I also really like Jamal Williams. DeAndre Swift's a little dinged up, so Jamal Williams is a very valuable player. What else can I say? Again, it really sucks about J.K. Dobbins. And I know Drew wants to talk a lot of shit about me for making that move. I don't think he does. I know you're just kidding, Drew. But anyway, it just got weird because Mike's not responding. Let me
You want me to take over for you?
just let me keep talking there, Mike. No, Nate's really like his receivers are always solid. He's in the research project too. Like his receivers are always set, and he has Alvin Kamara. Like he never needs a top running back. He's just always like he can be tinkering. Should I draft a top receiver? He got a complimentary running back to Kamara. He's set. He's got a nice team. And he'll be strong. Honestly, Jalen Hurts might be my top sneak for Nate. I had said last spring when the Eagles moved on from Wentz that I was going to need to stretch for how far I was going to reach for Hurts. I really like Hurts. I'm a little nervous about him, but I love the talent. All right, Mike, take it away.
Okay. Yeah, if I were Nate, I think I would have been a little pissed to see Diggs go right before me, even though he's got 2 keeper wide receivers. Diggs is one of those guys you can't pass up, but ended up with CEH, so it is what it is. All the things you said. I thought Henry Ruggs in the 10th was a nice, sexy pick. Going into a second year, speed to burn. They've moved on from some contributors from last year, so it seems like they're committing to him as a 1 or 2. Even though we all know Waller's the top target there, but still, he's a big play waiting to happen. I felt like he did his job with the cock block with taking Devontae Smith in the 7th round. He had all those 7s right before the keeper rounds. So Devontae Smith was a nice keeper cock block there, and somebody who could possibly contribute this year. And then I feel like going and getting Trevor Lawrence was a nice move too, because Trevor's, he's got the Hall of Fame pedigree, if you want to put it that way, with all the, he's got everything you would want. Just obviously question marks about the organization, whatever you want to say. Personally, I don't know why, but I hated a lot of Nate's picks. I remember saying as a drafted, like, I don't know why I even care so much, but I'm like, I don't like some of these picks. So we'll see. I'll probably look like an idiot at the end of the day. I didn't like Kyle Pitts in the 3rd because
I gotta get a timer out when we play it. You just went like 2 minutes. You're like, oh, this is good. This is great. This is great. And then you're like, I hate all of his picks.
I mean,
Dude.
I don't hate Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and it's hard to argue with Ridley, but to then back up Ridley with another Falcon, like, are you really think the Falcons are going to be high flyers? Like, they play in a pretty tough division. Anyways, but Kyle Pitts in the 1st, here's why, or in the 3rd, why I don't like it is what you just said. Rookie tight ends don't really come in and contribute right away. They're probably going to split him out a lot and play him as wide receiver, and that's where he'll do his damage. But if he's going to get banged around more and be more sore than he's ever been in his life. So I think he's probably going to be 80% pretty much all year, and it's going to take him a while to develop into that guy. They're going to find ways to get him the ball. You know what I mean? He'll probably be fine, but I think it's a little early when you guys had guys like Mark Andrews go in the 4th. I think that was a little early for me. And then I felt like going back-to-back linebackers in the 4th and 5th. I mean, they're good linebackers. They're great. You know what I mean? But it was too early for me. And then I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm just pissed because I was all set to take James Conner and my Chase Edmonds handcuffed, and he snagged him up 2 picks before me. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
I remember we're not on Ryan yet, who's the next pick, but Nate literally commented he was rattled from being surprised about Josh Allen going right away. So that might have been the target.
Oh yeah.
I kind of do like the Darius Leonard, Bobby Wagner back to back. I don't know if you can do better. Like right there, those are very high scoring picks. Speaking of just defense for Nate and being sneaky, and I'm just like kind of doing my IDP homework late, kind of after the draft too. Jamin Davis he's the number 2 rookie linebacker to be had in IDP right now behind Micah Parsons, and Nate landed him in the keeper round. So I think that's really solid. Tony Jones, watch out for him under the radar. If you have other leagues, Tony Jones is the back. He's the handcuff to own after Kamara. So that's really powerful to get him right there too.
One thing I did want to say about Cam Akers is this is not the first time Nate's done this with a running back that's out. Everybody remember Darius Geis? He drafted him when he was on IR too as a rookie.
Not a good person.
yeah, it didn't work out for anyone, but
Rice isn't a good person.
that's what made me think of that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, right.
Speaking of Ryan,
Speaking of withers winners, and
uh,
I'm gonna go fast here because Ryan hates it when things go slow,
it's my turn.
except when you draft in the guillotine league. But I'm saying when I come up, I'm gonna go very fast because Ryan hates it when you go slow.
I don't even want to like. No, no, I'm not even. I'm not having this discussion right now. All right, Ryan. Um, I love Jalen Waddle pick because he was my like top guy, top position player that wasn't one of the quarterbacks. Just because of his incredible game breaking ability. I also think getting Corey Davis in the ninth, who's basically the number one in New York right now, is nice, and they paid him a lot of money to come be a number one, so I like that. Um, he got another keeper back too. We've talked about that before. Dallas Goddard got him back. Uh, Ryan always seems to find those safeties in the mid to late keeper rounds, and he went with Trayvon Morig, who is the starting safety in Las Vegas, who could be a nice player, bigger guy, 6'2", had a lot of talent out of TCU. Um, I think Ryan had a solid draft overall. I think he's weak at wide receiver because he doesn't have like that guy. You know what I mean? I think he's gonna have a lot of tough choices when it comes to wide receivers this year. Um, and you just got to kind of make the right calls, you know, and hopefully get kind of lucky, play matchups, stuff like that. I feel like Ryan's team overall, it kind of reminds me of Brian's team last year. He's got good players. I mean, Josh Allen's obviously great. You're going to play him every week, but Mixon, good player. Cooper, good player. You know what I mean? Miles Gaskin, good player. You know what I mean? Doesn't have the top end talent. Got a lot of good players. So it could be one of those boomer, like he could have a 550 week and then follow up with a 350 week. But I have to imagine it'd probably be pretty consistent rather than overwhelming.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel a little bit about my team the way I do with Ryan's team. They're just like the where we were picking. So Ryan picked 11th and I picked 12th. Where we were picking, like just how the draft was flowing, the players weren't really there. And I don't know how to explain it really unless we would have reached or done something different. But the
Yeah.
players weren't there in the flow of how things went. That's really strange to me how it worked out. Just kind of looking at it like Calvin Ridley was the other way around. Um, anyway, Mike Davis was probably one of the last really like starting bell cow running backs. He went, and then Kareem Hunt went, and then no running backs went for a while. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Ryan's team. I'm nervous about Joe Mixon. I love Josh Allen. I don't love Josh Allen enough that I would have taken him in the second round, but I understand. I understand if that's your guy, like go get it because he's got a path to be the number one overall player in the game. Um, Dude, Buffalo doesn't run the ball. So Buffalo literally, I think they were like 86% pass to run, 86-14 run. Like that was their ratio last year, something like that, something insane. And they could be even better. And Josh Allen is their goal line running back. Like he is a megastar. Um, yeah, Corey Davis, like he's like post hype keeper. So I think that's awesome. Just watching Corey in the preseason, he's the number one guy there. What did I put for sneaky sneak for Ryan? I put Jarvis Landry though for sneaky sneak. Jarvis Landry is going to get a ton of looks from Baker. If Odell doesn't stay healthy, he gets a boost there too. I really like there's value there in Jarvis Landry so late. Brandon Ayuk he's the alpha dog in San Francisco. Some people like Debo catches like the bubble screens and the designed like whatever's jet sweeps and whatnot. Brandon Ayuk is the man, and so he might be that dude. So if Ryan has a really strong year, I think it's because Ayuk turns into like one of these top 12 guys, and there's a path to that. Like that's doable. Just kind of hitting on keepers, I guess. Aaron Jones too. I think he's in for an even bigger year. With Jamal Williams gone, Jones is going to get an uptick in reset, maybe like 2 or 3 more catches a game, maybe 2 or 3 more times he stays on the field on third down, and he's going to be so good. Damian Harris gets an upgrade too with the Cam Newton being gone, because Cam Newton was the goal line running back in New England. Well, now a lot like those touches will probably go back to Damian Harris. So there's definitely like a chance for Ryan to be very, very, very good, and it's probably more likely than not. But it's kind of just doesn't really feel like he had this like home run of a draft. But like I was saying, there just how the draft flow went. I don't know if I would have made other picks than Ryan made. It's just like that's how the drafts came to us, you know?
Yeah, I don't think Josh Allen gets back to him. So I don't mind
No,
that.
I don't either. Yeah, I think Nate would have taken Josh Allen. Maybe we can ask Nate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
sweet.
right.
Should we go on from Ryan?
Yeah.
I'm the last one. So Steel reserves. If 6 teams are making the playoffs this year, I don't think, and we do like a preseason poll, which why haven't we done a preseason poll yet? I shouldn't be in those top 6. That's okay. I think my window might start next year, and I think I set myself up pretty good with a window for next year. But that said, I think AJ Brown has another path to be a top 5 or 6 receiver with just how that offense runs and how that defense isn't good. I need David Montgomery to stay healthy and to produce. I need Russell Wilson to play like top, first half of the year Russell Wilson. And then I don't know what I would have done if Gus Edwards like it's kind of stupid that I'm relying so much on Gus Edwards because he wasn't in my plans at all until like half hour before I took him when I saw the injury. So it's just kind of stupid. Um,
Yeah.
this is a case where like you were kind of talking about you're not so sure about Nate's Darius Leonard and Bobby Wagner pick, or and then Ryan took Fred Warner and Deion Jones. Well, I didn't have a pick those rounds. Those guys were making those picks, so my team is really thin. Like I don't have any room for injury. I don't have depth on my team. The depth spots I used for potential keepers. I absolutely love some of the guys I have that are potential keepers and their potential, but potential does not win us games in the BFL. So I think Fields is going to be a starter week 4 at the latest. I really like Terrace Marshall. I absolutely adore Rashad Bateman. I think he'll be back in 3 weeks, but I don't know if those guys are going to like carry me to any kind of like championships. They might be number 2s for like the next 3 years. So I don't know about that. So yeah, I have a weird team because I kind of like the solidness of my starters, but when bye weeks hit and when injuries hit, oh man, I'm in big trouble. So that's the story of the Steel Reserves in my mind. Take it away, Mike. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no. Sorry, sneaky. Well, how was I sneaky? Gus Edwards was a sneaky pick. Ryan Fitzpatrick was my sneaky pick because I love. I'll say it. I think the Redskins are my dark horse Super Bowl team this year. I'm not saying I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but they have the defense, and I love Fitzmagic and what that offense can do. And then Ramadre Stevenson is sneaky sneaks because he's a keeper, he's a running back, and he's a goal line dude. And he gets a little bit of an upgrade too with Cam Newton not being there to take the goal line touchdowns. All right, that's all.
Okay. So yeah, I think the best thing I could say about your team is they're a really fun team, and I think they'll be great in 2 years. So if you could have the same draft in 2023, you'd be in pretty good shape.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, no, yeah, you said it right then, and you said it at the draft. You know, I have the youngest team. I have the youngest team, and it's true. You do. I like Bateman a lot too. He's getting like Keenan Allen comparisons, like as that guy that's just gonna get open. You know, they got the over the top guy in Hollywood Brown, and he's gonna be like their go to guy. Um, the Terrace Marshall is, you know, getting rave reviews too, but he's clearly the number 3 behind DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. So basically, everything you said was pretty spot on. I think the Gus Edwards move was good because I think in my mind it's like Gus Edwards, yeah, he probably went up, but maybe not as far as he should because Baltimore's still a run first team. Obviously, Lamar runs a lot too, but he's he's the default number one. I mean, so to get him in a fourth round where, Dobbins would have been an early second and ended up still going mid second, you know what I mean? Like, I had no problem with it at all. I thought it was actually pretty smart on your part. But yeah, this is all about the Justin Fields pick. I know you were super excited, and you should be. Your favorite team and the most exciting player you guys have had for a long, long time. So, um, yeah, I think that's what it all boils down to. If he turns into a success, then this draft will have been a success.
Like when I knew I was going to get 8.1, I knew that I needed someone on my team with that pick that I was gonna be able to have as a starter going into the next year. That is, I keep saying this research product. It's such an advantage to have one of those, three of those keepers on offense to be in a starting position. Like, because then I wouldn't have had to, if let's say it's next year and I'm in the same position, I wouldn't have had to take in Russell Wilson as my quarterback, albeit he's very, very good. But I could have doubled up. I could have taken, I don't know, I could have taken Myles Gaskin and Gus Edwards because he was right there. Or I could have taken a top tier linebacker, or I could have taken, anybody. Yeah, so that's that. And it was important to me to get somebody that I could have as a starter in the future. And I feel like that was pretty safe. Hey, yep.
We make it.
Yeah, we made it.
Nice.
It says it's still recording.
All right. Well, I just have one quick trivia question for you, and it's not it's just a random guess basically. But I was just kind of looking back at some of our past drafts. In our draft here in this league in 2018, there were 12 first round picks, obviously.
Oh.
Of those 12 first round picks, how many of those players are still with their original team?
2018?
Yep.
So we're saying like the player taken in the first round, like their original NFL team that they were on.
No, they're the same team as they were in that year.
The same fantasy team.
No, the same like NFL team.
Yeah, that's what I asked. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it more or less than 6?
It is less.
That's crazy. The answer is 3.
It is 3. Which is actually the same number of people that are unemployed that were first round picks in 20.
Oh dear. Who?
Big two would obviously be Gurley and Bell. Todd Gurley and Le'Veon Bell. They were the top 2 picks actually.
Dang.
Melvin Gordon from the Chargers was a first round pick. Fournette from the Jaguars was a first round pick.
Oh man.
Antonio Brown of the Steelers was a first round pick. Kareem Hunt of the Chiefs. Julio Jones of the Falcons, and Devontae Freeman of the Falcons, who was also unemployed.
Those guys were all ballers, though. Those aren't. There's not a bad pick there.
Yeah, they were good picks and everything. It's just it's crazy how fast it goes.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a good question. I like that. I like the draft of the past.
Yeah, I was interested to see. Because I know you really like Kelsey at 3 for Kyle. I've heard you say that twice now. I wouldn't have done it. I think Kyle nailed it, getting Zeke and Taylor. But I was gonna try and see if there was some correlation between, like if there's any precedent set with like a tight end taken in the first round or near the first round and being on a championship team. And obviously, I had Kelsey in the first round last year. Yeah. At 1, not 12, though. You know what I mean?
I tell you what would have been an exciting pick. So Phil made the trade for Waller. I would have been real excited if Phil would have taken Kelsey with 1.1.
I actually said that in the car ride down. I was like, if he really wants to blow people's minds, then you can start 2 tight ends. He would have had an advantage over anybody by far.
Dude, Kelsey, I think isn't Kelsey like the number 1 receiver anyway? If you change him to wide receiver, or he's in the top 4.
I think it was still Devontae with his 18 touchdowns.
Yeah, there you go. But, right.
Yeah. And I still would personally take like Hill and Diggs first, but yeah, I mean, you could clearly see a case for flexing a tight end if you didn't have running backs. You know what I mean? And you had Waller and Kelsey. That would be crazy. It would be a great experiment. I'm not willing to try.
What would you name your teams if you had those two guys? The tight end?
I love me a tight end. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's got to be something there.
All right. So we got the first game coming up on Thursday. So that's always fun.
It's football season, John.
Got to keep the chat lively. Awesome.
I wish we could get together for the game. I remember when we did that once a long time ago.
Like the group? Or you mean the Thursday game?
Yeah.
Should we have a league party somewhere?
I don't know. Maybe we can
work, but I could do it. All right. And now it's awkward that you said that on the podcast, because now if we don't invite everybody, if we do it and we don't invite everybody, like, well, God.
Stop. Everybody would be invited. I don't know. Everybody has to work the next day. We're all old.
Dude, work? Are you kidding me? Oh, man.
I figured out I've been in this league half my life, basically.
That's the saddest thing anyone said to me today.
We started in 2003. I was 19 years old. I'm 37 now.
Dang.
You know, when we expanded from 10 teams to 2 in 05, do you know who those two teams were?
No. They were what? Say that again?
They're both still with us. They're Drew and Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Drew and Ben both joined in 05, and they're still here.
Hey, no regrets.
No.
No regrets. Maybe a little bit, but not. No, I'm just kidding. Love those guys. Even though Ben, I would come pick you up during the zombie apocalypse. I don't think I would relocate there. I think about that a lot.
I'd wrap some like barbed wire around the minivan and just like plow through crowds of zombies to get to you, man. Just mow them down with some razor wire. I don't know. However that works.
All right, who's gonna make the moves to shut this down? Because I think it's past time.
It's over.
It's over. See you guys later. Good luck.
Cheers.
GG's.